One crisp autumn morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the lace curtains of our cozy kitchen, I stumbled upon a single envelope resting on the wooden table where we'd shared countless breakfasts and whispered dreams. It was sealed with care, but the handwriting, his handwriting, once so warm and reassuring, like a gentle embrace, now struck me as stark and impersonal, as if penned by a stranger. My heart skipped a beat as I tore it open, the paper crinkling under my trembling fingers. The words inside didn't scream or rage. They sliced through me quietly, methodically. "Dear Linda," it began, "I've decided it's over. I'm leaving today." No preamble, no plea for understanding, just a cold, irrevocable farewell that shattered the illusion of our shared life into a million irreparable pieces. In that instant, the world tilted, and the betrayal I never saw coming wrapped its icy fingers around my soul. Hello everyone. I'm Linda, and tonight, under the soft glow of this lamp that once lit our late-night conversations, I'm opening up about a moment that redefined my existence. The day a simple letter unraveled a decade of what I believed was unbreakable love. This isn't just a tale of divorce. It's a raw exploration of silent betrayal, the kind that festers unseen until it explodes in your face, leaving you gasping for air. We'll dive into the subtle warnings I ignored, the heart-wrenching discovery of deception, the storm of confrontation, and, ultimately, the phoenix-like rise from the ashes of heartbreak. Stick with me through this emotional roller coaster, because by the end, you'll grasp how avoidance and unspoken resentments can erode even the strongest bonds, and how reclaiming your inner strength can turn devastation into empowerment. If you've ever felt the sting of unexpected loss, this story is for you. It's a reminder that you're not alone in the shadows of betrayal. Our story began like so many others, in the bloom of young love that promised forever. 10 years ago, under a canopy of blooming cherry blossoms in a small park near our hometown, we exchanged vows that echoed with sincerity and hope. For better or worse, we said, our eyes locked in mutual adoration. Life unfolded in a rhythm that felt both ordinary and magical. Lazy Sunday mornings tangled in sheets, shared laughter over burnt dinners, and quiet evenings where we'd plan our future. Maybe kids, a bigger house, travels to distant shores. I was the optimistic one, always believing in open hearts and honest words. Communication was my mantra. I'd initiate deep talks about our days, our fears, our joys, convinced that as long as we spoke, nothing could touch us. He was my rock, steady, reliable, with a smile that could melt away my worries. We built a home together, a modest 2-story house filled with mementos. The framed photo from our honeymoon in Hawaii, the quirky mugs we collected from flea markets, the garden we tended side by side. Mornings started with coffee he brewed just right, strong, with a hint of cinnamon, and ended with his arms around me, whispering, "I love you," as sleep claimed us. But beneath this veneer of contentment, cracks were forming, invisible to my trusting eyes. I didn't notice how his touches grew less frequent, how his gazes lingered elsewhere, or how conversations turned superficial, skimming the surface like stones on a pond. Looking back, love can be a deceptive mirror, reflecting only what we want to see. I poured my soul into our marriage, supporting his career ambitions as a marketing executive, cheering his promotions, and being his sounding board during stressful times. In return, he seemed appreciative, showering me with small gestures, a surprise bouquet, a handwritten note on my pillow. Yet resentment was brewing in the quiet spaces between us. He felt unfulfilled, perhaps trapped in routines that no longer sparked joy. I was blind to it, wrapped in the comfort of our shared history. That fateful morning shattered everything. The kitchen, once a haven of warmth, felt like a tomb as I clutched the letter, the scent of his cologne still faint on the paper. The ordinary, our mismatched chairs, the half-empty fruit bowl mocked me with their familiarity. In that moment, I learned that love, no matter how profound, can crumble under the weight of unspoken truths, leaving you alone in the ruins. In the weeks and months leading up to that letter, the signs were there. whispering warnings. I chose to ignore. It started subtly, like a distant thunder on a clear day. He'd come home later than usual, citing urgent meetings or team deadlines that stretched into the night. Eat. Wait up, dinner cooling on the stove, my calls going to voicemail more often than not. When he finally appeared, his explanations were vague, laced with fatigue that seemed more emotional than physical. Just work stuff, babe, he'd say, avoiding my eyes as he headed straight for the shower. I rationalized it. His job was demanding, promotions don't come easy. But deep down, a nagging doubt flickered, like a candle in the wind. Intimacy faded too, replaced by excuses, headaches, exhaustion, or simply not in the mood. Our bed, once a sanctuary of passion, became a divide, with him turning away sooner each night. I tried to bridge it, planning romantic dinners, surprising him with tickets to his favorite band, but his responses were polite, detached, like echoes in an empty room. Phone notifications buzzed at odd hours, and he'd snatch the device away, muttering about spam or work emails. I caught glimpses of unfamiliar names in his call log, but when questioned, he'd laugh it off. Old colleagues, nothing more. Hindsight paints these clues in bold strokes. The emotional withdrawal, the secretive behaviors, the growing chasm between us. Then came the letter, positioned precisely on the table as if staged for maximum impact. It wasn't scrawled in haste. Every word was deliberate, typed even, to avoid the intimacy of handwriting beyond the envelope. Linda, it read. I've been unhappy for a long time. Our paths have diverged, and I need to find my own way. I'm filing for divorce. Please don't try to contact me right away. I need space. No, I'm sorry. No invitation to discuss, just a clinical severance. As I read on, each sentence built the suspense in my chest, my breath shortening. Mentions of irreconcilable differences, allusions to finding myself, and the gut punch revelation that he'd already packed his essentials. Questions flooded me. How long had this been simmering? What had I missed in his smiles, his hugs? The letter transformed our home into a crime scene of the heart, every corner hiding evidence of a love quietly dying. The suspense mounted as I paced the kitchen, rereading the words until they blurred through tears. Was there someone else? Had our inside jokes, our shared dreams all been a facade? The clues retroactively screamed at me. The weekend business trip where his phone was off, the new cologne I didn't recognize, the way he'd stare into space during meals. I felt like a detective in my own life, piecing together a puzzle I never wanted to solve. The emotional intensity built like a storm, leaving me breathless, my world narrowing to the pain of impending loss. The true depth of the betrayal unveiled itself as I delved deeper, my shock morphing into a visceral ache that clawed at my insides. The letter wasn't merely an announcement, it was the tip of an iceberg of deception that had been lurking beneath our marriage for months, perhaps years. Desperate for answers, I rifled through his drawers, his emails, anything to understand. What I found stole the air from my lungs. Hidden bank statements showing transfers to a separate account, receipts for dinners in cities he'd never mentioned, and cryptic messages on a secondary phone app. Can't wait to see you soon, from an unknown contact named A. He hadn't just decided to leave, he'd orchestrated an entire escape plan while I slept beside him, oblivious. Emotional withdrawal wasn't accidental. It was deliberate, a slow poison, administered with smiles and good mornings. He'd lied about work trips that were actually rendezvous, fabricated stories about late nights that masked his detachment. The shock hit like waves. First disbelief, then a tidal surge of hurt that left me doubled over, sobbing on the floor. 10 years, anniversaries celebrated, hardships weathered together, reduced to this? The man I trusted with my vulnerabilities had been eroding our foundation in secret, letting me build castles on sand. Further investigation revealed the extent. He'd consulted a lawyer weeks ago, rented a studio apartment across town, and even informed his family before me. Every detail was calculated to minimize his discomfort, leaving me to face the wreckage alone. The betrayal burned deeper than infidelity. It was the erasure of our shared reality. I felt foolish. Exposed. Had I been that blind? The shock permeated every fiber, turning familiar spaces into haunted echoes. Our wedding photo on the mantel mocked me, his arm around my waist, now a symbol of false security. Nights blurred into days of numbness, punctuated by bursts of raw grief, as I grappled with the realization that love could be so cruelly one-sided. The emotional toll was immense. Sleep evaded me, food tasted like ash, and mirrors reflected a stranger with hollow eyes. Friends' calls went unanswered as I isolated myself in the pain, questioning my worth. How could someone who vowed forever plan such a silent exit? The discovery wasn't just facts. It was a soul-shattering revelation that trust, once broken, leaves scars that time struggles to heal. I couldn't let it end with a letter. I needed to see his eyes, hear his voice crack under the weight of truth. That evening, as twilight painted the sky in bruised purples, he returned, perhaps to collect more things, unaware I'd found his manifesto. I stood in the living room, the crumpled paper in my fist, my voice a tremor of fury and despair. How could you? I demanded, tears streaming unchecked. 10 years, and this is how you end it? A coward's note. He froze in the doorway, his face paling, but composure returned swiftly, like a mask he'd practiced slipping on. Linda, I didn't want a scene, he said, his tone even infuriatingly rational. We've grown apart. I need more adventure, freedom. You deserve someone who can give you what I can't anymore. His justifications poured out. Unmet emotional needs, a sense of stagnation, the pull of a new life unencumbered. Each word twisted the knife. Deeper, salt in wounds I didn't know could bleed so profusely. Anger surged through me, hot and unyielding. You lied. About everything, the trips, the late nights. Was any of it real? The climax built in waves of raw emotion, my sobs echoing off walls that once held our laughter, his detached explanations fueling my rage. Shock mingled with sorrow. I pounded his chest, demanding, "Did you ever love me?" He caught my wrists gently, his eyes averted, murmuring apologies that rang hollow. I'm sorry for the pain, but this is best for both of us. No remorse for the deception, just logical defenses that stripped away the last illusion. Disbelief crashed over me. This was the man who'd held me through my mother's illness, who'd promised eternity. Now he stood as a stranger, his heart sealed off. The confrontation peaked in a storm of feelings. Betrayal's fire, love's lingering ache, the crushing weight of failure. Questions bombarded. Had I not been enough? Could I have fixed this if I'd seen sooner? He offered no solace, just a final hug that felt like goodbye. As he left, the door clicking shut, I collapsed, the emotional apex leaving me drained, yet strangely alive. In my pain, it was the death of us, but the birth of my unfiltered truth. Escalation tension peaks, 24-30 min. In the aftermath, tension escalated like a gathering tempest, infiltrating every corner of my existence. Family descended, my sister arriving with casseroles and stern advice, his parents calling with awkward sympathies that hinted at prior knowledge. Friends divided lines. Some rallied around me with wine-fueled rants, others probed delicately what really happened. Each interaction reopened the wound, forcing me to relive the betrayal in agonizing detail. Shared spaces became minefields, his favorite chair empty, closets half bare, memories ambushing me at every turn. Practicalities amplified the strain. Dividing assets, navigating legal paperwork that reduced our love to spreadsheets and signatures. He texted superficial apologies. I'm sorry it came to this. Hoping to smooth edges, but they ignited fresh fury. How dare you pretend care? Now, I fired back, our exchanges devolving into battles over dignity and fairness. Social circles buzzed. Whispers at gatherings made me paranoid, isolated. Financial worries loomed. Could I afford the house alone? Emotional peaks hit during solitary nights where doubt whispered, fight for him, only for pride to retort he's gone. Tension crested in negotiations. Mediated sessions where his calm demeanor clashed with my tear-streaked resolve. Every concession felt like surrender, every demand a reclaiming of power. Friends urged therapy. I resisted at first, then relented, sessions unearthing layers of grief. The escalation tested my limits, turning heartbreak into a forge of resilience. Amid the chaos, glimmers emerged, support from unexpected allies, moments of clarity in the storm. Yet the peaks left me exhausted, yearning for resolution in the unrelenting tension. Resolution/action. 30 to 36 minutes. Faced with the abyss, I chose action over despair, reclaiming fragments of my shattered self, one deliberate step at a time. First, the legalities. I hired a lawyer, signed papers that formalized our end, and watched as our shared life dissolved into equitable divisions. It hurt, like severing a limb, but necessity propelled me. Emotional boundaries followed, blocking his number, purging mementos that stung, creating space for healing. Self-care became my anchor. Morning runs to clear the fog, journaling raw thoughts until pages soaked with tears, therapy sessions where I unpacked the betrayal's roots. Friends enveloped me in love. Group outings, heartfelt talks that reminded me of my worth. I rediscovered passions sidelined in marriage, painting vibrant canvases, volunteering at shelters, traveling solo to places we dreamed of together. Each act rebuilt my independence, transforming pain into purpose. Through reflection, I saw the betrayal's silver lining. It exposed vulnerabilities, taught vigilance and love. The man who left faded into lessons of self-worth, the peril of unvoiced resentments, the power of resilience. Healing wasn't linear. Setbacks came, lonely holidays, triggers in songs, but progress mounted. I emerged stronger, my heart scarred but open to new beginnings. The journey from devastation to empowerment proved that while betrayal can break you, action rebuilds you taller. Betrayal often creeps in silently, masquerading as normalcy until it strikes. Stay attuned to the quiet shifts in your partner's demeanor. Emotional awareness is your greatest ally. Recognize withdrawal not as fleeting moods but potential red flags demanding honest dialogue. Confrontation, though it rips open wounds, grants the clarity needed for closure. Avoiding it only prolongs the agony. Healing demands firm boundaries, a network of support, and deep self-reflection. It's a journey inward that fosters growth. Beyond heartbreak lies empowerment. Resilience blooms from ashes, teaching that self-worth endures when love falters. If this tale of silent betrayal and triumphant renewal resonated with you, drop a comment below. Have you ever been blindsided by a partner's hidden truths? Hit that like button if it moved you, share with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe for more gripping stories of love's dark sides and redemptive arcs. Tune in tomorrow for a chilling account of a wife uncovering her husband's secret. Second family, a web of lies that shatters illusions in unimaginable ways. Until then, cherish open communication in your relationships. Trust is a delicate thread, easily frayed by unspoken betrayals. Good night, and take care of your hearts.